Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Monday morning meditation. So good to have you here and to be here with you. I always love our meditation time together. Today I wanted to talk with you about what happens as we meditate. And one of the things that was standing out to me today, there's a lot of things happening as we meditate, but one of the things that happens as our meditation time becomes more regular, we start to notice our thoughts throughout the day more. And maybe it seems like they become louder or more obnoxious to hear and notice what's happening in our minds throughout the day, but we're actually just becoming more aware because our meditation time, we're spending our half hour together on Mondays and whatever you're doing every day to support your meditation practice, you're using that time to pay attention to what's happening on the inside. And as we do that, we become more aware of what's happening on the inside throughout the day. So one of the things I wanted us to notice is that sometimes our thinking, this is going to be an understatement, but sometimes our thinking can be not as positive as we want it to be. And the more we meditate and pay attention to what's happening on the inside, the clearer that statement becomes. And we see, like, oh my gosh, I'm so not nice to myself, or maybe I'm not being nice to somebody else in my head, or, you know, we just are noticing things on the inside that we don't care to know about ourselves. But it's just human. It's human stuff. It's things we've picked up for years that just rattle around in there and come up and just kind of bubble to the surface. And we can act on those thoughts that come up, or we cannot act on those thoughts. And one of the things I wanted to focus on today was that we have a choice to not act on those thoughts and just notice them and notice them for what they are. Well, that's not a nice thought about myself, or that's not a nice thought about another person, or it's not a helpful thought. I mean, we have not nice thoughts about all sorts of things, but we want to maintain our inner hygiene and notice the things that are not constructive that go through our minds and focus on just being present with ourselves. And when we're just present with ourselves, just right here where we are, it's not that we have to be overly positive. We don't have to deny the weird stuff that goes on in the world, but it's about not reacting to it, because our reactions don't help. Our understanding of it does. Our compassion is helpful. Our being able to see reality, the reality on the outside anyway, for what it is. There's ups and there's downs, and there's goods and there's bads, and there's, preferences and aversions, and, all sorts of pulls that are there. And our natural state of being, which we talk about a lot, our natural state of being is peaceful. It is non-judgmental. And it doesn't mean it's not discerning. It doesn't mean that our natural state can't discern what is beneficial or not beneficial. It can discern that better than our unconscious state when we're just walking around asleep, not knowing what's happening on the inside, and things happening on the inside all the time, and we just don't know. But our natural state is very discerning and very aware of what is helpful and what is not helpful. So part of being aware of any kind of negative thoughts that are going through our minds about ourselves or other people or anything else going on in the world, and just noticing, is that helpful to me right now? And what would be a more helpful state of mind to be in about this person, about the situation, about myself? And so that's kind of the next natural step as we are meditating so regularly. One of the things that I've heard over the years in classes is that people stop meditating because they can't still their minds. And I think it's more than not being able to still their minds. I think it's they don't like what their minds are doing, and they're just more aware of it than usual. And so they say, I don't want to know this. I don't want to see this. I'm not going to meditate because I don't what to know what's going on up there. But it doesn't mean it's not going on just because we're not aware of it. So if you've ever had a mosquito bite that you realize at the end of the day and think, I didn't even feel the mosquito biting me. But if we look at the mosquito biting, we very much are aware of that. But if it's biting us and we don't know it, we don't always notice it until it starts itching. And that's what our negative thoughts are like. We don't know they're happening until they become a problem. But we can bypass that. We can notice our negative thoughts and work with them before they become a problem, either towards somebody else. Like, oh my gosh, I've been thinking all these negative thoughts about this person, and now I have to go have lunch with them, or now I have to work with them, or whatever. So that's not helpful because now I'm coming to the table with all this history of negative thinking. Or, I've got negative thoughts about myself going on all day. And then when I sit down to eat dinner, I just want to eat junk food because it's more comforting than regular food, feeding my body that is nutritious and supportive of my body, because I've had all these negative thoughts, and there's a part of me that goes, why bother? There's nothing good about me anyway. Why bother taking care of the rest of me or taking care of my home, or all that negativity builds up and it gets in our way. So our meditation time and being aware of our thoughts throughout the day is kind of, I call it front end maintenance, or spiritual hygiene, or even just mental hygiene, that where we're watching that thought process and saying, okay, no, I don't need to be thinking that about myself. I don't need to be thinking that about the other person. I don't know what goes on in their lives, but I know what goes on in mine. And that's what I can manage, and that's what I can control. So when you're meditating and you notice those negative thoughts coming up, those are coming up into your awareness so that you can shift that a little bit. You don't have to fight with a negative thought or convince it otherwise, because it's just a little spark of energy that has words attached to it. That's all it is. But when we're not aware of that, what we do is we grasp onto, unconsciously, we grasp onto that negative thinking, or it comes up and we think, oh, it must be true because it just came up into my mind. That's not it. It's just about noticing, like, oh, that's in my storage. That's what you can say. That's in my storage, and it's coming up, and I don't need that anymore. So let me just let it keep moving on out, instead of believing it and tucking it back into a little box inside, or a little shelf in my storage unit, and saving it up for next time, or letting it add up and build up. So anyway, that is part of what comes up when we meditate regularly. So I just wanted to address that. So in our meditation time today, we're going to just allow ourselves to notice our thinking, to notice the thoughts coming up, and just let them go by, like maybe not mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are pretty pesky, but we're just gonna, shoo them away like little flies. Just shoo them away, and or maybe you want to see them as bubbles, just bubbles being floating away, or you can pop the bubble and it's gone. So whatever kind of visual you'd like, maybe there's another one that you come up with where things are just bubbling up and dissolving those thoughts as they come to the surface for us today in our meditation time. So anyway, well, we will start with our just tuning into our bodies, allowing our bodies to relax. I always like to take a deep breath or two when I sit down to meditate, because it helps let go of whatever I was doing beforehand. And as you breathe that deep breath in, just feel that air filling your lungs and your body, the oxygen going to every cell of your body, and breathing out, letting go of everything else. Feeling your body relax with that deep breath and that exhalation. Let your body relax into the chair you're sitting in, chair, the couch, the bed, wherever you are. Let your body relax, give it permission to let go and just be. Let your breathing return to a natural rate. You want to work with a quick breath because that can help focus the mind. Just breathe into the count of 4 and breathe out to the count of 4. Into the count of 4 and out to the count of 4. And as you focus on your breathing, however that's working for you, focusing on the belly, extending as you breathe in, relaxing as you breathe out. Just feel the mind-body system. It's almost like it synchronizes together. The mind is calmer, the body more relaxed. And find your center. Where do you feel most calm, grounded, even neutral today? Perhaps it's in your heart center, which is such a good place to focus. Our heart center is that place of receptivity, of openness, love. Maybe your center is your bottom in your chair, your feet on the floor, your hands in your lap, your shoulders. Find that place where when you focus on it, your mind can be even more still. Relax the body, and our center is a place to relax the mind. Let it sit and be. When we meditate, when we sit down to meditate, some days our minds are very busy, some days our minds are very quiet. And anything is okay. Because even when the mind is busy, we're right here present with it, noticing the thoughts that come up, but not reacting to those thoughts, not jumping into a conversation with them, just watching them come up and out. Supporting the mind, staying in that center, feeling that regular breath come in and out. Even the thoughts that are positive or even just neutral are still thoughts coming up and out. Our very natural state is no thought, but it takes a long time to get there. And in the meantime, we work with the thoughts that come up by just letting them come up and out, move on their way, and stay in that center. That mind is so used to solving problems or planning the day, the week, the next activity, the next interaction. And all that's going to happen anyway. We can plan for some of it. Right now, we are just here now. We release those plans, let them move on by. Come back to your center, your breathing. And just let those thoughts move on by. Even if we're practicing that during our whole meditation time, we'll find ourselves in a calmer place, different, more relaxed state of mind. You can continue in this state of being present, letting those thoughts go. I invite you to do so. And if you need to go about your day, then just feel your body sitting in your chair, couch, bed, wherever you are. Feel your room around you. And take this presence with you throughout your day, throughout your week. Noticing the thoughts, checking in with them throughout the day. How am I thinking about myself? What else is going on in my mind? Just become aware. And as you become aware, take a moment or two or several. Just let go of all those thoughts. There's a small percentage of them that are actually useful, and the rest we can let go. But we have to be aware to be able to sort through them in the moment. And that takes just a little practice and a lot of awareness, presence with yourself. Thank you for taking this time today. Again, I invite you to go ahead and continue if you can, and otherwise, happy May Day, and have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.